Welcome to the last part of a week of bearings. I kind of skipped yesterday, but that's because the fourth blaster one I've already did a video of before I came up with this whole crazy idea to do an entire week talking about modding one blaster and various things I've done with them because they're so cheap and so good. They are probably the best bang for buck blaster next to one of these, which cost less than $2 and are actually great. Plus, you can like double one of these and turn it into a night finder in a day, basically. So that's pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, this is the last one. This one I really don't have a name for. Maybe I'll come up with a name for it someday. It's technically not finished, but it's finished enough where it's functional, which is the way I like to mod things, where I'll mod it a little bit, make it functional, come up with something even crazier to do with it, and mod it some more, and so forth, until I've just run out of things to do to it that aren't ridiculous. So that's where this one's at. It's kind of in that middle part. You can see I've got this ridiculously well, it's decently sized handle for the blaster, but the rest of the blaster could be bigger to match that, which is where the mod is heading. Now, one easy way to do that would be to drop out a clip. Throw in a clip with speed loaders, which these are hastily made speed loaders, but they do work. And I'll fire this at the end of the video. Now, all my other bearings I've showed you the insides of, but I think you can get the idea, because basically this thing's stock except for how I cut the inside of the handle, which I think I have. I have the handle somewhere, I think, because I wanted the plastic to fill in the gap up here, but I think I'm going to leave that. You can see there's epoxy putty in here to fill in where the back of the magazine well was, because this is a Nerf Magnus handle, which is why it has the Instrike Elite logo on it, but it used to have a Busby sticker. I must have gotten rid of it. The Busby logo was here. It's there, but yeah. I've got it held in. It's attached inside here with hot glue, and then the rest is epoxy putty on the outside, and it will get painted in some kind of color scheme. I'm thinking body red, leaving this gray and doing this black, and doing these scales either gray or probably black as well. You can notice though that you might not be able to see it in this light, but the plunger tube in this is actually some kind of a weird purple. And I think that's probably because Busby had some purple plastic left over for something and they cast a bunch of internals in it, which is fine. Nobody cares. I like that I have two of them with the purple internals, and those are going to be my two main ones I use. You notice there's a big old gaping hole down here that's kind of brought to a T, and I already showed you. It's modular. And modular. And obviously these are speed loaders, which means you flip them over. And you've got 4 darts pretty readily available here. I've got this one loaded with 2 Adventure Force darts and 2 Zombie Strike darts and 2 Adventure Force darts. It's kind of odd to see it like that, though. And it really doesn't matter what this is doing as long as these are straight, or at least on target. That's all that really matters. It doesn't matter if these are out of the way, because there's flex. It's just electrical tape. Yeah. I should probably go over the middles of these with something else. And maybe spacers to keep them aligned properly. But yeah. Another thing, because the trigger well is too wide for the stock trigger, I added a bit of plastic in here, it's a weird terracotta colored plastic, so I I went over it with black Sharpie, and it's not rubbing off much. Those were there when it was fresh, or when it hadn't, dried. You know how Sharpie is. So, yeah. But, yeah. And another thing is that with this blaster, which I showed you before, that back plate works with this, but the front plate, which isn't permanently attached, however, this duct tape kind of makes it hard, make it basically impossible to get back off of there. If I took this duct tape off, I could slide the front spacer in this off, and then I can take these barrels out of this and use it with this. So I could make a bunch of those, so I'd have even more of these that were micro dart barreled, which would be great. I have 5 of these and 7 shots. No, I've got 14 shots with only 5 sets of barrels. Yeah. Oh. I mean, I've got the 5 Barons. There's the one out of this, the one out of this, the one out of the Recticon, the one out of the Wingmaster, and the one from the Slingfire. All of those Barons gave their barrels to supply this with clips. Now for the real fun, shooting the micro darts. And in a war, you'd potentially, you would flip the top one that you just, or whichever one had just fired, and then fire the bottom one as the next one in turn, and then flip them that way, and continue to reload them. Yeah, this one's quite on loose though, but it fired okay. There you go. Just be careful when you have shells laying about. And one thing to note is all but one of these, this one, you should be able to see that this plastic up the front has no white stress marks. All 4 of these had a set of prongs here at the front. See those white marks there? That's where I cut those off with a razor blade, or a razor sharp blade, I should say. But this one didn't have those, and I'm guessing this is the set of barrels out of the Wingmaster. And all the rest of these have those little prongs at the front. And on both sides. Or on both sides of these. Just cut those off, they're not needed at all. But other than that, the foam padding they put on the front here, which I've actually got one of those handy. Looks like this. And you can really see how these things index, right? If I overlay this onto this set of barrels and line one of these holes up there, you can kind of see the bottom hole has no air through it, but when you rotate it like such, now the other hole is covered and this bottom one is open. That's how it works. Every time you prime it, it rotates. And that foam padding provides, I'd say, a really good air seal. So I'm going to plug these 2 barrels and fire it, and air got out by my pointer finger. But yeah, it's a really good seal, especially since it's spring-loaded. You can hear it. I'm actually pushing that back against the plunger head, and then all that back as far as it can until it hits those walls in there. So yeah, that's the 5th and final Baron. yeah. I should say that I technically cut this hole out at the front before I did any of this, but after I did that, I then welded this handle onto here. I shouldn't say welded it, I adhered, stuck it, glued it, whatever, attached. Put this handle on here. That's what I did. We'll go with that one. And I've got a random skull signature on it because I can. Because I can. So now you've seen all the crazy things I've done with bearings thus far. I should tell you, I have 6 bearings. That one's stock, and it's at home. So, see ya.